Hey, this is David Owen,
And this is Marion Cowigowen.
and we've got some plans for 2026 that we wanted to fill you guys in on.
So, for the past 5 years, we've been talking about mostly movies and some television that each of us loved before our first date, and some that we loved after. But there was one show that we both loved as teens that we want to talk about in 2026. It's the Canadian favorite, Degrassi Junior High.
So, what that means for you is that the first Wednesday of every month will be a normal YSMY episode. We'll show each other movies from before the first date and all that jazz. Then, all the other Wednesdays in that month, we are going to be watching Degrassi Junior High. All 3 seasons, start to finish, all 42 episodes.
So, come hang with us and the Degrassi kids as we rewatch the show in 2026. We'll see you then. Bye.
Hey, this is David Owen.
And this is Marion Cowigowen.
And this is You Show Me Yours, a podcast where a married couple talks about the movies and television that they loved before the first date. And this time I was made to watch Felicity.
Yes, it's the WB darling TV show Felicity, the one where Carrie Russell's hair is an unpaid actor. And we get to see baby versions of lots of the actors you know and love today, including Scott Foley, who ended up on Scandal, and later Turk from Scrubs, and also baby Jennifer Garner later. They don't show up, but trust me, they're there. It's the college TV show that's not really anything like college. But this was my show. I loved it. And so I made Dave watch the first 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
If you are, if you are younger than, 30, you probably have no idea what this is. But first of all, this wasn't a show on the WB, which is no longer. It's a network that started like the mid 90s. And then I think it combined with UPN in like the mid 2000s.
Yeah, I think
the CW.
I think CW, traces, which still exists.
Yes,
traces
that
its
does,
lineage
that
back
does,
to the
that
WB.
does.
Yeah.
But the WB, so I feel like for a while, it kind of felt like the WB was programs for white teens and UPN was programs for black teens. That was sort of how it felt. I don't know if that was actually true.
Kind of. UPN was weird because it had like Star Trek and stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff too. So
it was more of a mishmash. But the WB had a fairly specific aesthetic. It was ensemble cast of attractive teens and 20-somethings who had very complicated lives.
Yeah, is this Dawson's Creek?
Yes. So
One Tree Hill?
Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill.
Gilmore Girls?
Yes.
Okay. This is getting whiter.
Everwood, right? And it's all in Massachusetts, Connecticut. There was something called Young Americans, which was absolutely terrible, but I loved it. It was a spinoff of Dawson's Creek.
Oh, gosh.
And it was a young Kate Bosworth, who we talked about in Blue Crush, and Ian Somerhalder, who ended up on The Vampire Diaries, which was not on the WB, but is a very WB coded show.
Would have been if WB still existed. And
also my favorite, the actress's name, I can't pronounce her last name. It's either Moaning or Menning or something like that. Kate, and she's Shane on the L Word. Shane, if you don't know, is a rather androgynous lesbian, and on Young Americans, she was a girl masquerading as a boy to attend this this boys only elite prep school. Very like, is it As You Like It or 12th Night that has the gender bending? I don't know. Anyway, total mess of a show, but I adored it because I was young and stupid, and that's what I liked. But anyway, so Felicity is part of that set where we had all these shows where everything was white and aesthetically pleasing, and most of the time there was no concern about money or anything, but they had all these dramatic things. And Felicity is unique because it's set at a college campus, except this is not like my college experience at all.
Yeah, these kids have a lot of free time.
They really do. And like, you can't really tell how much time has passed, but they say things like, yeah, I still have to figure out my course schedule. And I'm like, you usually have like a week to do that.
Right.
This feels like it's been a month. I don't, but I have many questions about the time at this college, which we will get to in a second. First, okay, so what did you know about this going in? Anything?
Yeah, Carrie Russell's hair.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the show was about. I thought this was like an Ally McBeal. Like this was like
similar.
like young professional in the city. Like I had some vague idea it was set in New York. But yeah, I did not think that this was college stuff. I thought this was like young professional making her way in the world today.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Well, I think that's this show does what a lot of TV shows about college do, where they kind of, I mean, because actual college, not very exciting. You're going to lectures and sitting there and taking notes and writing a paper
day to day
and go,
like 5 days a week. Actual college,
like
not super.
It's the parties and the hookups and stuff that are exciting. But then, like, if you have an internship or whatever, and you do all that young professional stuff, that's what seems more interesting. But so yeah, the characters end up doing more of that stuff. Yeah, so Carrie Russell. So the elephant in the room. In the first season, Carrie Russell has this long, sort of Botticelli, gorgeous, shoulder, mid-back length curly hair, and it just sort of flows behind her, and she looks like a Renaissance painting, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beginning of the second season, the character and the actress cut her hair to really short, like a very curly pixie, and it was not her best look. And there are conflicting stories of, did she tell the producer she was going to do it first? Was it the show's idea first? Was it, there's all different versions of it. I think the truth is that I think she sent a picture to the producers of her in a short wig as a joke, and they were like, hey, we should do that on the show. And the story is that when her, I mean, it was kind of like a Samson and Delilah thing. Once her hair was cut, nobody liked the show anymore, which is
that
weird. But
if you're telling me that she did, how many seasons did this show go?
4.
And she grow her hair back out?
Yes, although it was never as glorious and curly after that.
Because that's the only thing. Literally, if you stopped a male ages 40 to 55 on the street and said Felicity, all they would know is Carrie Russell's hair. That's all they would know.
Yeah.
And to find out that like it's only peak for the first season.
Yeah.
And then there's like a whole season where she cut it is just, I don't, that doesn't seem to compute because it's the only piece of information most non-fans know about this show.
Well, enjoy the first season then, because the hair is herring, and then after that it's never quite the same. It's sleeker, and then, we went from the 90s into Y2K stuff, and everyone got sleeker and more zhuzhed and everything. But the other sort of famous story about this, there was a writer, a staff writer on the show who she told people that she was in her 20s, I guess. She was not. She was in like her late 30s.
Okay.
But, and I can't find the snippets that I found about it, but she I think she told people, she name checked all these things that like 20-year-olds should have, like her crush on Jonathan Taylor Thomas, which feels like a little bit apocryphal. I never had a crush on Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Well, because you didn't watch, if you watched.
No, I'm saying I was too old for it.
Yeah, well, sure, yeah.
So,
if you were of the correct age, you definitely did.
But the correct age was watching the show, not working for it. But anyway, she did all these, name checked all these things to make herself sound like an authentic 20-something, and then it turns out she's like, they're almost their parents' age. It was big.
Hello, fellow kids.
Yes. It was sort of the opposite of when we talked about My So-Called Life. Winnie Holtzman, who was much older than the characters on her show and the actors, but somehow had the teenage voice, and some of the actors hadn't met her, and they said, is Winnie our age? And they're like, no, she's like your mom's age. So this is the opposite of that. But so the crux of the beginning of this show is,
well, hang on before we get into this.
Yes.
Can we please talk about the other creative forces behind the show and how gobsmacking it is that they are who they are?
Oh, yeah. J.J. Abrams.
And?
I don't know.
Matt Reeves.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
Okay. So first let's talk about J.J. Abrams. Then.
Okay.
J.J. Abrams, he of
Alias and Star Trek movies.
And Lost and the Star Trek and the first Star Wars prequel and all of that. Yeah. What the hell?
He's got range.
I guess. Do you know who Matt Reeves is?
No.
Are you aware of the Robert Pattinson movie The Batman?
Yes.
Are you aware of the movie Cloverfield?
Yes.
Or the Planet of the Apes movies?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's who this is.
Okay.
Like,
so different vibes.
The fact that Matt Reeves is credited in here as a producer and director of many of the episodes and his current project is working on the sequel to the very moody The Batman.
I
is
say
insane.
I say I refuse to watch any of the Pattinson Batmans because I just can't.
It's great. It's great. Though.
Well, it might be, but I don't.
It is
want to
so moody and just drenched in noir. And
I don't need moody. I had moody in my 20s. This show was my moody.
He is a very good sullen Batman, and it's a young Batman, so it's a good. But yeah, just anyway. The fact that these two guys who are like about as male as you can get, like this, making Planet of the Apes movies and the Batman and Star Trek and Star Wars and Lost and all these things, that they are the creative force behind this show.
I mean, range is helpful. I don't, yeah.
It's just that was because I saw Matt Reeves and I was like, that can't be the same one. And I went to the Felicity page and clicked on his name, and sure enough, it is. Just crazy.
Yeah. So, well, WBTV makes for strange bedfellows. I don't know.
Well, and everybody needs a jumping off point, and I mean, Joss Whedon was doing Buffy, so even though
that was the other WB show that I forgot to.
Right. We both forgot that one.
Yeah.
Even though that's a supernatural show, it's essentially about a teen girl and her friends. So all of these guys, even though the public opinion of Whedon has soured over the years.
Can I just? I knew from the beginning. I was like, any man who is that vocal about being a feminist, don't trust him.
It's
that
like,
no.
I it's never funny when you just recount Saturday Night Live skits, but there's that skit where Cicely Strong is in the bar, and she's sitting there, and one of the guys is beside her, and he's basically talking himself up as like a feminist, and and then he's like, so you're going to come back to my place? And she's like, no. And he's like, bitch. And he just gets up. And then the next guy comes in like, there, I was awful. I was just here, waiting for my, my mother to be done with the, and then it ends the same way. And it's just this progression of men who are coming up and pretending to be super feminist and turning out to be shitty. And that was my, Joss Whedon belongs in this skit.
Yes. It wasn't his fault at first. I knew too many people who were obsessed with Buffy and were really annoying about it.
Sure.
So I didn't like the show, therefore I didn't like him. But then after I heard more about him, I was like, oh, he doth protest too much. This is no good. Anyway, back to Felicity.
Yes.
So Felicity Porter we meet her on her high school graduation day, and she's got a voiceover about her life's all planned out. She's going to go to Stanford and be pre-med and be a doctor like her father, and everything is going to work out. And then she gets to talk to Ben Covington, this boy in her class that she's basically had a crush on for the entire 4 years, and he barely knows that she exists. Mm-hmm. She says, we've never had a conversation, but I got to hold a pint of his blood one time at the blood drive, which is just such a gross but perfect way to describe, when you have a crush, you're like, this interaction was really meaningful, and the other person didn't know what happened.
Oh yeah.
So she goes and gets him to sign her yearbook, and he writes something along the lines of, I've watched you for 4 years, always wondered what you were like, and now I guess we'll never know. Okay, bye. Stay sweet, don't change. And she is gobsmacked, and she feels like he wrote something really profound. And she says, where are you going to college? And he says, oh, New York, which is not really an answer,
right.
Except he's going to University of New York. So, okay, fine, which is basically NYU. He says, where are you going? And she goes, oh, that's unclear, which is a very weird way to put it. So basically, she changes her whole plan to go to school where he's going.
Yeah.
Which is not a good idea.
No, of course not. Yeah.
And her parents are clear that this is a bad idea, but are unable to talk her out of it. And she's like, and they're saying, well, we won't pay for this. And she's like, I'll take out student loans. And in 1998, that was not quite the financial death sentence that it is now to finance every bit of your college education. But and of course she's 18. She doesn't know, and blah, 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 blah. She does the classic, TV and movie thing where she shows up to college with 2 suitcases.
Yeah.
She went there on her own, which I cannot imagine doing. I had an entire minivan's worth of stuff.
Well, she flew across the country.
I know, but like,
It's
I
a
had
sort
a
of a
lot of
self-limiting.
but it's not. You can ship boxes.
Well, I
You can
guess
do
that's
all
true.
these things. You know,
Maybe
but
she did because she has a lot of stuff in her room by episode 2.
dude, that room is like the size of our whole first floor. This
Yes,
is I don't
real big room.
understand this dorm situation. And then she meets Ben and she does the, oh, I forgot that you go here. And he's like,
Yeah.
and he doesn't remember her name, and he's with this girl who he smooches and it's acting like a girlfriend, and she's like, oh shit, I've made a terrible mistake.
Yes.
But she feels like she can't turn around. And then for like I forgot how long this went on. For like basically we watched the first 2 episodes. For most of the first episode, she's going back and forth on, is she gonna go back home, is she gonna stay, you know, blah 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 blah. And then she has to defend her decision to her parents who show up, and the parents call her like counselor and demand a meeting, and they want the counselor's help to talk her into, you know, and it's all this very, very inappropriate. I feel like most colleges are like, your kid is 18. Sorry.
Yeah.
As long as we're getting paid, we are not getting involved.
Well, she has a very hip counselor. So he's very cool.
Yes. And her parents are very uncool.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's like so many things, right? Like you have to paint with these like incredibly broad brushes.
Yeah.
These archetypal, you know, just because if you don't do that, then these characters have no room to grow.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not like, this character sees the world in black and white.
Yes.
And in fact, they don't even see it in white. They just see it in black, or they just see it in white, or they just see it in red.
Yeah.
You know, pick a color. That's all they think exists. And they're going to learn that shades of gray are real, and
they're going to appreciate nuance, and it'll be beautiful, and you get to be there for the journey.
Yeah. So you have to make them like almost cigar chomping villains in the first couple episodes.
And they pretty much are.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, and both of the parents, like there are moments where the mom seems like she's on Felicity's side, and then she kind of loses her shit, and then the dad is back on her side, and you know, then by the end they're like, well, I guess I'm proud of my brave daughter. All right. You know, but they're going to be back. They're going to be back and causing trouble.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say this seems to tie up too neatly in the first 2 episodes. It's really, these first 2 episodes are really like an extended pilot. Like taken together, they're like a 2-hour pilot.
Yeah. So, and as she's settling in, she realizes it's not going to be this, you know, fantasy life with Ben that she envisioned, which I don't think she thought this through at all, which is, you know, par for the course when you're 18. Although you had an entire summer. Did you do a little planning? Apparently not.
Well, it sounds like she did a little planning of it took some time to pull the strings to get the whole thing to happen.
Well, that's true. Well, like the day she tells them, though, which I assume is graduation day, she's like, I called and they're sending me the loan paperwork. And I was like, that's awfully fast to get that part. But anyway, so she starts to kind of make friends with other people. And we meet Noel Crane, her RA, played by Scott Foley, who is extremely inappropriate.
Yes.
As an RA. And Julie Emmerich, who is another fellow freshman, played by Amy Jo Johnson. And do you know where you know her from?
Yes, of course I do.
Okay. Just making
sure. The Pink Ranger.
Yes.
She's also on that show, that other Canadian show where they're a SWAT team.
Oh,
and that one guy looks like, yeah.
That you were watching that for a while.
What was that called?
Flashpoint?
Yeah. And the one guy looks like a low rent version of Bruce Willis.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, I'll show him to you.
I remember watching it with you, but
yeah. She's in that. Yeah, she's like she's like a sniper. Or something.
That was my big reveal, was that she was the Pink Power
Ranger.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
no, I know Amy Jo when I see one.
Anyway, she's also a folk singer, which
I mean, that's like so that. On brand for 1998.
It is.
Please, Lilith Fair is at its climax.
Well, yes. I don't like watching people sing.
Okay.
Like in the guitar solo, like kind of way. I just don't want to see it. Like I'll listen to it. That's fine. I have both of the soundtrack albums from the show, and she has some songs on one of the albums, and they're fine. I mean, they're extremely like high school poetry writing, but they're fine. But I don't want to watch people play the guitar and sing. But what's funny though is I was reading some, sort of retrospectives on this, and they said, this was the peak coffee house husky voice singer-songwriter era. And I was like, was it really? I thought that started in like 92. I wouldn't call this peak.
Well, I mean,
really, but
I think probably it was. I mean, 97, 98. I would say probably to my mind was because early 90s, you're competing with grunge, you're competing with these other movements. By 95, 96, grunge has sort of started to subside and it's made room for
Yeah.
other movements. And there's this almost backlash of independent female artists that are kind of like, they're almost a weird response to grunge of the women saying like, hey, we've got something to say too.
Well, yeah, and you kind of had this spectrum where it was like Riot Girl and then sort of still like Liz Phair, Alanis, Meredith Brooks, and then the folksy stuff.
Exactly, yeah. Because the Riot Girl stuff even inspired grunge. I mean, Kurt Cobain dated what's her name?
Courtney
from
Love.
No, from
Kathleen Hanna.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and then I guess, when did the Spice Girls come out? Like 96, 97? And so then
probably something like that.
You have this
girl power,
which is not.
Yeah, there was like 3 or 4 years there where, and I would say that's probably from like 95 to 98.
Maybe.
Where there was this big girl power movement and like Garbage was a big deal, and the Cranberries and
everything that played
the
at Lilith
Cardigans,
Fair, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it has the whole show has a very coffee house feel because there's lots of that. I was reading I think it was Mighty Big TV did recaps of Gilmore Girls, and they referred to the music that they always have on Gilmore Girls as strummy, strummy, la la.
Okay.
Which is very similar to this. So there's lots of strummy, strummy, la la music, even though we watched this on Hulu and they've taken out a lot of the music because I think of copyright.
Yeah, it's
stuff.
just like weird, crunchy sounds.
So, but if you watch this originally, there was strummy, strummy, la la.
Yeah, I think that the intro of the first episode. So by the second episode, they have, and I like that they do this because I think it's always ridiculous when a television show in their pilot has an intro that's just filled with clips from the pilot.
Yeah.
I always think it's better for the pilot just to not do an intro.
Yeah.
And then you get picked up or whatever, you shoot a handful of episodes and you have 3 or 4 episodes to make a sizzle reel for your intro.
Right.
You know, because like My So-Called Life on the first episode,
You're like, check.
It's just scenes from the first episode, and probably for the whole season. It's just an intro full of stuff from the first episode.
Yeah.
Like forego that, bypass an intro on your first episode.
And just get right into it.
And so there's supposed to be music and it's just like static. And then by the second episode, they have their proper intro and theme song.
Yeah. So the fact that I have both of the soundtrack albums will tell you I really like the music that they had on the show. And I think it did have a particular flavor that I guess is unique to that time. Like I was in it. And so I don't really, when you're in the midst of something, you don't notice that it's unique, but good music associated with the show.
Yeah.
We are introduced to Felicity. She is speaking into a tape recorder. She has this relationship with her French tutor, voiced by Janine Garofalo, who now lives in New Mexico and is sort of mending a broken heart. And so they send cassette tapes back and forth. This is the 90s when you could buy cassette tapes and record them. Yeah. And so instead of letters or emails or texts or whatever, they do this. And I don't remember that they used that motif the whole time.
It seems like the kind of thing you would drop after it served its purpose effectively.
But it's a very, like, you get some exposition out of the way and there can be some voiceover that's like, here's the lesson of this episode. And, I think often it started out with Felicity's narrating at the beginning and then the end is Janine Garofalo as Sally writing back and, giving you the lesson and, blah, blah, blah.
You don't want to lock yourself into Doogie Howser typing on his computer at the beginning and end of every episode.
Well, no. Typing, looking off into middle distance and thinking, and then typing again with a pun. Yeah, I hated that. But so this is going to be a thoughtful show with complex emotions and growth and but at first it's just Felicity being real dumb.
yeah, for real. Yeah, it's cringe as the kids don't say that, but like the teens and early 20-somethings That's like a
yeah.
Gen Z phrase. But
I
cringe.
actually cringe. I do a
Oh,
full
yeah.
body cringe with
Oh,
this.
yeah.
I don't.
When she pulls him aside to the stairwell to tell him,
Yeah.
I'm like, no, don't do this.
And then later she's like, you made me fall in love with you because of what you wrote in my yearbook. And he's like, what did I write? What? And he, honestly, he handles it remarkably well, by which I mean he does not call her a crazy ass stalker and file a restraining order.
Right.
Like, this is weird.
Yeah.
But Ben, I don't think you don't see very much of it in these two episodes, but he's not very emotionally mature.
Okay, sure.
I don't think, and I don't think he's very smart either, from what I remember. He's just sort of a himbo. Yeah. But so when he meets Felicity on campus that time, and he's got this girl that he's acting very girlfriendy with, like 2 days later, he's sleeping with Julie. And I'm like, what happened to Susan?
Oh, you move on.
You know, yeah. So like, he's kind of a slut.
Yeah, for sure.
Felicity, this is not somebody you should fall in love with.
Yeah.
Under any circumstances.
So given the close proximity of this and My So-Called Life,
mm-hmm.
all I can deduce is that young women in the 90s pined after beautiful idiots.
Uh-huh.
And that was pretty much...
I mean, babe, that's any decade. That is the, you know, I can fix him. I'm special. He will become better for me. I understand him in a way nobody else does. He understands me.
Oh yeah.
You know, we will live on love. We don't need him to finish high school, college, whatever. Right. You know, it's
I will definitely fund his idea to sell gold chains at the flea market.
Yeah.
As his main source of income.
Yes, we're gonna throw off the manacles of upper crust society and etc. And we're just gonna live authentically. Women falling for beautiful idiots is not a 90s thing, but yes, those are two prime examples.
It seems like it was real prevalent.
Yeah Well, isn't that the entire plot of what was it, Singles? Isn't there she's fallen for a beautiful idiot there? I think Matt Dillon is the beautiful idiot, and in Reality Bites Ethan Hawke is the beautiful idiot. I mean, you weren't supposed to think so at the time, but he definitely was. But anyway, not unique to the 90s, but there were a lot of examples of that in the 90s.
Geez. Yeah.
But so despite Ben not being very emotionally mature, at least as I recall the whole series, he handles this rather calmly and is like, okay, I guess you'll get over me. You know, they all do eventually. And they are in this thing where she says she's fine, and then she's weird, and then she says she's fine, and then she's blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Noel RA is creeping on her and saying, and she says, do you have feelings for me? And he says, yes I do. No Noel, you don't, because you were her RA. You are in a position of authority. Like, even if you do, you don't.
Right.
Like, did they not tell you this?
Yeah, this is wholly inappropriate.
At University of New York, do they not have training on consent and authority and abuse of power? Like, come on.
Well, but then again, like, this would explain a lot. Like, if this was not being well explained to men in the 90s, it would explain a lot of what's gone on for the last 20 or so years.
That's true. But can I just such a dorky puppy dog.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, cutie pie, I can't even. But there's a line where he's giving Felicity advice about something, and he says, you can trust me, I'm the RA. When I watched this the first time, I remember sitting in the TV room in my sorority house, fall of 98. I cracked up at that because I was like, no RA says that. No, like they're college idiots just like you are. They're not gonna say that. No one else that I was with thought that was quite as funny. It's still funny 25 years later.
Well, I think that's the thing. He's almost too much of an idiot to know that he's an idiot.
Yes, which is about right for 19.
Yeah, but also like expertly played. He's very good at the sort of stammery nervousness. Yeah. Yeah. Good.
And Felicity is a big old nerd. Noel's a big old nerd.
Yeah.
Ben is not so much a nerd, but there's potential. Julie, not really, but other characters who come on later, big old nerds. Like, it's comforting to see nerds get their day, and nerds can still be beautiful, and or you can be awkward and nerdy and still find love, and it's
which
kind of nice.
This is kind of the inverse of My So-Called Life, where she is a nerd and makes a change to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Felicity is just a dork and just doesn't.
Well, she happens to look like Carrie Russell, so that was points in her favor. Yeah. But speaking of another character that I keep forgetting because she's barely in these 2 episodes, but Megan, the roommate.
Yeah.
She comes into her own later and she's flipping amazing.
Okay.
So she and Felicity have this huge room. It's basically like a suite where they basically have their own room, and there's sort of a hallway joining them.
Yeah.
Megan is barely there. You later learn that she is, I'm not sure if she calls herself a witch or Wiccan, but she does spells.
So that's very time
yes,
line appropriate.
Yes. In these 2 episodes, she's just like, it looks like she parties a lot. She comes in with outlandish outfits. Felicity, by the way, is like dressed straight out of like Chico's or J. Jill. Lots of oatmeal colored knits.
Yeah. Yes.
A lot of turtlenecks.
Sweatery. Yeah.
And I was like, doesn't the school year start in August? Aren't you hot? Like, even in New York City, August is pretty hot. September is pretty hot. Like, you can't, but anyway, okay, fine. She probably has that thing that some women have that I really envy, where they're so thin that they're very delicate, that they're cold all the time.
Always cold, yeah.
I have never had that in my life. I have never been cold in my life. I could wear a tank top in winter and I'd be fine. And this is before I was in perimenopause. Like, my last job, the 20-somethings had fleece blankets on them. I had a fan on me the entire time.
Oh yeah.
So maybe she has that going for her. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
But so, and Megan just treats Felicity with total disdain and just, walks in and out and doesn't speak to her and, all these things, which is sort of a great moment. Her parents are visiting the dorm to see it, to make sure that this is a safe place for her daughter. And they're like, what's over there there's a bone sculpture or something like that. Yeah. And Felicity's like, oh, that's my roommate. She's totally a freak, but we get along great. And Megan comes out and is like,
doesn't know she's in the closet.
Yes.
And then Megan comes out of the
closet.
And
makes a comment about, you wear hush puppies. You're the freak, which I don't even know what hush puppy shoes look like, but I imagine they're very not cool. I don't think I would ever wear them.
Yeah. I feel like they look kind of like fluffy slippers.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
That's weird.
Yeah.
But Megan is comic relief for a while, but then over the series, she and Felicity actually become really close. And there's a whole thing where she gets married to another student, and then the guy has testicular cancer, and they have to figure it out, and and meanwhile she's still like casting spells and doing all these other things, and it's great. A lot of bonkers people in this show for being full of like I said, cream colored knits.
Yeah.
A lot of strong, odd personalities, which is great to watch.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a diversity of weirdness amongst white people. There's a lot of different flavors of weird white people.
We are legion. We contain multitudes.
Yes.
Weird white people. We're not all the same. But speaking of white people, there are people of color in the show. Not in these 2 episodes, but they come later. We get John Cho as a guy whose roommate
he's in there for a minute.
Is talking about buying knives. Like I always like little bits of John Cho showing up and things. But later in this season, another student turns up named Elena, who is a very intense med student, and she's, I think, the first Black character that we see, and she ends up dating Turk.
Yeah.
And that's a whole thing. But I was reading the episode recaps. Elena ends up having an affair with a professor before she meets Turk. It's like, it's all
high drama.
Yes, as is appropriate for something on the WB in the 90s. Let's see. I'm looking at my notes here. I'm kind of all over the place.
Let me give you an aside here.
Yes.
I don't know if it's because it's on the WB, and I think a lot of the WB shows of this era have this, but the thing that I like the most about this show is that it is very filmic. It's not shot like a sitcom. It's not shot like a live studio audience show. It is clearly shot on film.
Mm.
The way the saturation of colors and the way it's lit, the shot, like you can see what Matt Reeves will become as a director, like laced throughout these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he shoots her, there's a really beautiful scene where she's talking into the tape recorder and she's like silhouetted against, and you can see her curls and I'm just imagining, like a young Matt Reeves, like, getting all the curls
pull
perfect
this ringlet out like
for that silhouette shot and all that. So it's got a very film quality to it. It doesn't look cheap. It looks very expensive.
Yeah, and it looks very soft, I guess. And there's lots of, she's walking down the street bundled up in the cream colored knits and the ringlets are like bouncing behind her. And it's at like just the right amount of slow motion to where it looks meaningful, but not tedious. And it's very, and
so you're like, it's very clear. Like you can tell that J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves are like filmmakers that are kind of, they seem to, at least for this first part of the show, they're producers, directing, created by, writing, all these things. So they seem to be almost fully in charge of these first 2 episodes, at least. You can see the fingerprints all over these episodes of like what these guys are going to become in the film industry.
Yeah. This is not a show that has New York City as a character necessarily, but it really takes advantage of the city setting. There's lots of, walking down a busy street, and they, at various points, they go up to rooftops and have conversations, and there's lots of, like, it takes advantage of the setting, which is nice.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you could just as easily never name this, but always say the city, and just have, because that's just such a great excuse for people to always be on top of each other. If you shot this at the college that is closest to us, UNC Charlotte, this would be like, they would have to walk 30 minutes from one side of the campus to the other to get to anything of me. But this way it can just all be super condensed. They can always be around. Anybody can just pop in at any time.
Yes. This dorm is apparently like 15 stories and
right. Yeah.
Like 1,000 people living there.
It's just always, everybody's always on top of each other. And it's a great, putting it in Chicago, in New York, LA, San Francisco, whatever, pick a city that has like a vibrant downtown sort of atmosphere. Boston. Like it's just a great excuse. You put a college downtown and you just put your characters in there, and they go to you solve so many problems that you would otherwise have to in a suburban college setting.
Well, because it's a school setting and it's a city at the same time. And that is such a different experience than I had. I remember when I was looking at colleges, we went to visit DePaul University in Chicago, which is similar to this in that it's just in the city, and you're walking to class and it's a super busy street with traffic and bike commuters and everything right there. And I remember walking along the street and there's like, a semi truck 2 feet from my left arm. And I was like, oh no, I can't go here. This is, no. Would I have survived? Yeah, I would have figured it out. But I went to a college that had sort of it was in the suburbs. It was like an urban part of the suburbs, but in the campus was sort of set off from the rest of it. So it was a little bit removed, but it was the nice blend of things. But this would be a very different experience. Like the whole city is your campus, which is the thing. Another character that I forgot to mention who shows up later, who is just delightful, except the actor, when you see the actor in other things, you're like, how did he become that person? I don't get it. Do you remember, this is a long time ago now, we watched My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah. And
Ian has this friend who's very gruff and just kind of a dick. And the actor was married to Nia Vardalos at the time.
No.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Anyway. Okay. Well, the actor's name is Ian Gomez, and it comes across as just sort of like unpleasant and just sort of acrid. And so in Felicity, he plays Javier, who is the manager of a coffee shop that Felicity ends up getting a job at. She has like 6 jobs throughout the thing. Like she's always worried about earning money, which is, appropriate. But and he is, I'm not sure where he's from. Cuba, Colombia, Ecuador, somewhere in the Caribbean or South America. And he is in love with somebody named Samuel. ends up getting married to him, and it speaks in a very effeminate way, like sort of a high squeaky voice, and is very, I don't know, I can't even describe him. I don't want to try to imitate him because I'd be offensively bad.
I was going to say this, the only thing this needs is a gay character.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So like it can't be a mid to late 90s drama series without somebody knowing someone who's gay.
Yeah. Not too well, but just a little bit. Yeah. But
usually played for comic relief.
Yeah. Well, and Javier was definitely comic relief, but there was a I think I read the plan was for him, actually, the character, to be deported at the end of the first season, but the audience liked him so much that they kept him.
Nice.
But that's not relevant today. People getting deported. So yeah, I think he was going to be comic relief, but people related to him so much that he had some deeper storylines and things like that. But he was left. Oh, my Samuel, the sweet character. But yeah, when I see the actor in other things, I'm like, how did you come up with that? That's
acting.
I suppose. But a lot of other characters come in, and there's lots of. I think we've talked about the character actor Amy Aquino. You would know her. You would know her if you saw her.
Yeah,
she's Felicity's therapist for a while, which is also a great dramatic tactic because you get to do lots of expositions. Now that I think of it, I think that replaced some of the tapes to Sally stuff.
Yeah.
So I had in my notes, you can see the love triangle already. Like you could see it from like minute 5.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Would it surprise you to learn that a few episodes later, it turns out that Noel has a girlfriend?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like yes and no, that would surprise me and wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. It would surprise you because that's a dick move to do, is to have a girlfriend and hit on your advisee, but it wouldn't because it's TV.
Yeah.
The girlfriend is young Jennifer Garner, sweet baby, pure angel Jennifer Garner.
That's a bold move to put Jennifer Garner and Amy Jo in the same.
Is it?
In the same show. I feel like they have a very similar vibe to them, to their look.
Well, Jennifer Garner didn't have much of a vibe then because she hadn't been in Alias.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Alias was after. I think this is how she met J.J. Abrams and got into Alias. Yeah. But she was kind of a Lisa Loeb energy because I think she had on the cat eye glasses and she was a musician or something like that.
That's the thing, right? You when you have two actors that look similar, if they're men, you have one of them grow a facial hair, and if they're women, you put them in glasses.
Yeah.
And change their hair color or something.
Yeah. But so there's this all back and forth and who's going to hook up for and through the series, Felicity, she's with Ben for a while, then she's with Noel, then she's with the other people, and the last season does this bonkers thing. Like they graduate and then there's 6 more episodes where it's like an alternate universe. Felicity gets to go back in time.
Okay.
This at graduation, she's with Ben and then he cheats on her somehow. I don't know if it's an affair or one night thing or whatever, but
sure. And
she's like, oh, what would life have been like if I had been with Noel? And she gets to imagine her life. And I think some of this has to do with Megan cast a spell to make this happen because the spells don't go away. Like Megan's committed Wiccan. And then somehow in that, like she learns that, oh no, she really is, does want to be with Ben. And oh, by the way, she does really want to be a doctor. And she goes, so like by the end, she's what her father wanted her to be, which is sort of annoying. But that last season was insane.
Sounds like it.
Like in a very good way, but you were like, and sometimes when you have a show that you love, you watch it alone and it's just your thing. No, I had a friend that I worked with who loved this show too. And one of us would record it and we worked sort of like second shift, 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. And after work, we'd go to one person's house or the other and we'd have snacks and we'd be in the living room with pillows, acting like a couple of teenage girls. And it was fantastic. So I need to let her know that I showed this to you. She will love it. But there's something special about when you have a show that you watch with a particular friend.
Oh yeah,
that's caught up in this for me. Like that's my time with her where we were, we bonded and everything. But Yeah, like I said, I'm kind of all over the place. Would you recommend that people today watch this?
Oh Lord, at least the first 2 episodes, sure. I mean, why not? Maybe not the whole series, but yeah, watch the first 2 episodes, and if you like what's on display here, yeah.
Well, it gets bonkers
Well, that's
pretty
good.
soon after the first 2 because you
that's
learn
good.
more about Megan, and then we get Elena and Javier, and then Hannah, and all the love triangles become.
Yeah, well, I was going to say this doesn't seem sustainable. The
Right.
content of the first 2 episodes doesn't seem sustainable.
Yeah, no, more hijinks are
Yeah, I
coming.
was going to say, yeah, you have to give her some opportunities to have what do they call them? The self-contained storylines. Like everything can't be these like life-changing moments.
Yes.
Like you've got to be able to like, oh, and today she's got to get she's got a test and she's got a shift at the coffee shop, and what's she going to choose? I don't know.
Oh, speaking of, so we talked about Felicity doesn't have any boundaries where Ben is concerned, and she also is learning that Ben is not very smart.
Yeah.
It turns out that she's really impressed, so she works in the admissions office, and she got a hold of Ben's admissions essay, and it was. Yeah. I hate it when shows have a piece of writing that's supposed to be so stunning that everyone loves it, and I'm like, that's actually not very good. But this actually, the bits of it that they read were kind of good. I like that, which is rare. Mm-hmm. It was about his older brother had died, and he was like, and I always resented him. And then I got to the point where I lived to be older than he was, and and I was like, okay, I would like to read the rest of that. Well, it was all fake.
Yeah.
So. And I think he had the classic thing where he was like intimidated at how to write this essay, and he just didn't know how to write, and he faked it.
So he just made it up.
Yeah. So then she begins to think that he's not very smart. He's writing a paper for another class, and she rewrites it for him, and he doesn't know, and he turns it in, and you're just like, oh, girl, just maybe your parents are right. You should go back to Stanford. Like this is not good. And somehow Ben does not run away screaming, get this girl away from me. But now I have been a well-meaning, super awkward 18-year-old, and sometimes you just don't know any better, or you're trying to do the right thing and it just ends up wrong, and you're not a bad person. You're just very, very, very awkward. But it doesn't change the fact that you're very awkward at the time. So, but eventually all of us awkward girls would grow up and we're completely normal women, right?
Oh, totally.
Right? We're never
100%.
Awkward at all.
100%.
No, I have not done anything awkward in at least 10 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So yeah, I find the show a lot of fun. It's very much of its time, and it has one of the things that we often note for anything made before 2001, the shot of the Twin Towers.
Oh yeah.
Right at the beginning. I don't remember if they show up a lot. Again, this is like, the show is not in love with New York City. It's just the cityness of it all, but it isn't New York specifically. But but yeah, if you like city scenes and college dress and drama and Carrie Russell's Botticelli ringlets and
I would
sweaters.
Say if you want to see what's early Abrams and Reeves, like it's very interesting look into a time capsule in their careers, and like I said, you can see a lot of what's to come as far as the directing style and the cinematography and stuff in it. It's very high quality. Like it's much better than your average show at the time. Like this was going up against like Home Improvement and stuff like that. Like, it's way better than it has any right to be when it comes to like how good it looks, how well it's filmed.
Yeah. Well, and for a teen show, I mean, I was watching Dawson's Creek at around the same time. That was nowhere near as cerebral as this.
Dawson's Creek, as far as the filming, Dawson's Creek is like, it's like this, but done poorly. It's still not like the multicam, you've got the living room set, but it's someone who didn't really, I don't want to say know what they're doing, because I'm sure they did, but it's someone without a lot of passion making a show.
Oh, that's funny.
And it just doesn't, because I haven't seen a lot of Dawson's Creek, but when I have, a lot of passion for how it looks. I think when you watch this, I think Abrams and Reeves care very much about how this show looks. Mm-hmm. I think probably a show like Dawson's Creek, they cared a lot more about getting the characters on the screen and a lot less about how they looked while they were doing it.
That's interesting, because Dawson is an aspiring filmmaker. So you would think that if that's the character you create, then also the
Right.
shoemaker's children are always barefoot, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that has been our rambling discussion of Felicity. I'm sorry, you guys. Like, when there's a show or a movie that I love this much, I cannot be, so methodical and section A, section B, section C. It's just so much fun. And I have so many memories wrapped up in it. And this didn't overlap exactly with my college years, but close. So there's a lot of emotion tied up into it. But it's a lot of fun, particularly if you are our age approximately. It's going to resonate with you a lot. So it's on Hulu right now, or no, Disney Plus and Hulu.
Yeah,
together.
it's on Hulu. It's on Hulu if you just have Hulu.
Yeah. Worth watching, and check out the soundtracks if you are into that sort of breathy coffee house female singer songwriter. Definitely check it out. It's fun. Well, folks, we would love to know what you think about Felicity. Are there any observations that I did not manage to have? Please send them to us. Who's your favorite weird character? Did you ever pull a Felicity and change your whole life for a boy? I know you did. Tell me all about it. I'll tell you mine. I won't tell Dave, but I'll tell you, the listeners. I don't like to let him know my
secrets.
He knows a lot of the secrets, but not all of them. So you can get in touch with us a couple different ways. You can send us an email. It's ysmypodcast. That's ysmy for you, show me yours, at gmail.com. Or we are also on Facebook, same handle. You can send us a DM, or you can check our feed where we post links to our latest episodes. We have had new episodes every other Wednesday. So 2 weeks from today, no matter when you're listening, there'll be a new episode. In 2026, we are going to try something new and have episodes every week. Some of them will be shorter, some will be longer. You'll see what happens when the time comes. But next week, Dave is hosting. And what are we watching next week, Dave?
Next week is kind of the Christmas episode, but I don't have any Christmas movies left on my list of movies from the before times. So I picked a movie that I think has Christmas vibes to it. We're going to be watching Ridley Scott's Legend.
It's a Ridley Scott joint.
Legend,
yes. Are there explosions?
Maybe one.
Okay, that's what I want in my Christmas movie.
Yes.
Explosions.
So young Tom Cruise, the world is cast into an eternal winter when the mate of the last unicorn is killed. It's a wild ride, and we will be watching the U.S. theatrical cut with the Tangerine Dream soundtrack for any.
Oh, you've told me about
for
this.
any Legend snobs out there.
Okay.
As much as I love the Goldsmith soundtrack, I have a special place in my heart for the Tangerine Dream soundtrack. So the U.S. theatrical cut of Legend next week. Next time.
Well, and I'm sure you'll explain the difference in the soundtrack to me in detail.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. Well, tune in next week for all that and more with Legend. In the meantime, this has been You Show Me Yours. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye. The You Show Me Yours theme song is Uplifting Electronic Indie by Winnie the Moog from filmmusic.io.